Hey guys, ever felt like something was missing while watching Battle Through the Heavens? Well, your gut feeling is spot on. To save on budget and speed up the pacing, the animation actually skipped quite a bit of the original plot. But hey, no worries. Starting from this video, I'm going to break down the original novel plots that were skipped in the Battle Through the Heavens animation. Consider this your ultimate guide to filling in all those missing story gaps. So, let's get right into it. First off, this part of the plot is honestly just bizarre. There are so many things that simply don't make sense, so let's break them down one by one. First off, in the original novel, Mugu's strength during his first appearance was only around a 3 or 4 star Dojang. At that time, Sha Yixin, who had just recently broken through to Dojang herself, even said that if they actually threw down, she wouldn't necessarily lose to him. What's more, Mugu went through the trouble of using a spiritual barrier specifically to avoid being detected by Sha Yixin and Yao Chen. This pretty much proves that even he wasn't confident he could take them both on. And check this out, as soon as Shuo Kongzu's spiritual avatar showed up, Mugu instantly bolted. This clearly shows he was terrified of Shuo Kongzu, who was at the peak of the Dojang stage. Now, let's break down the actual power gap between Mugu and Yao Chen when they first clashed. Yao Chen passed away about 70 or 80 years ago, and before his death, he was already at peak Dojang. At that same time, 70 or 80 years ago, Mugu had likely just broken through to the Dojang stage. Think about it, Bing Hao was only a 4 or 5 star Dojang, yet he completely dominated Sha Yixin and Yao Chen to the point where they couldn't even fight back. So, are you telling me a Mugu, who had just recently broken through to Dojang, actually thought he could take down a peak Dojang like Yao Chen? Is this some kind of joke? Honestly, the fact that Yao Chen didn't just swat him away like a common fly is already being incredibly merciful. Second, Yao Chen's soul force was already at the peak of the spirit realm. With that kind of sensory power, there is no way he wouldn't have noticed Han Feng's assassination attempt from such a close distance. I mean, if a tier 8 alchemist can't even detect an enemy standing right next to him, he might as well just retire and call it a day. Seriously, go home and get some rest at that point. Now, there is another possibility. Han Feng was still Yao Chen's disciple at the time, so maybe Yao Chen didn't have his soul perception guard up against him. But here's the thing, he was literally in the middle of a battle with Mugu. In a fight like that, every bit of your power is being mobilized. Naturally, his senses would have picked up on Han Feng's assassination attempt instantly. Think of it like playing a high-stakes competitive game. Every tiny movement or sound immediately puts you on high alert. You don't just ignore someone standing right behind you. It's pretty obvious the writers nerfed Yao Chen's actual strength here, just to give Mugu and Han Feng a convenient way to take him out. Honestly, I've read the original Battle Through the Heavens novel 5 or 6 times now. The book only mentions that Han Feng was manipulated by Mugu and ultimately caused Yao Chen's death, but it never actually describes the specific details of how it happened. Exactly, the author never actually specified the cause of Yao Chen's death. Maybe it was just an oversight, or perhaps the author realized later on that killing off a peak Dojang powerhouse was just too difficult to pull off logically, so he decided to simply leave it out altogether. In the original novel, Han Feng claimed to the outside world that Yao Chen died due to a freak accident during one of his alchemical refining sessions. But honestly, nobody's buying that. It was a total cover-up for something much more sinister. So, how exactly does the Manhua version describe the cause of Yao Chen's death? Let's dive in and take a look. My English isn't perfect, so I can't provide a full translation of the Manhua for you, but I'll describe what happens in my own words. If I get any details wrong, I'm truly sorry, and I hope you can bear with me. In the Manhua version, Han Feng actually slipped some poison into a water cup to drug Yao Chen. That's right, he poisoned his own teacher, just like that. Han Feng claimed this poison was completely colorless and odorless, and that after being infected, the pain would be unbearable. Yao Chen, shocked, asked him why he would do such a thing. Han Feng's answer: he blamed Yao Chen for standing in the way of him becoming stronger. All because he wanted to get his hands on the flame mantra. Han Feng laughed like a maniac. shouting that the flame mantra was finally his. But Yao Chen, furious, called him a traitorous disciple and immediately used his Dou Qi to shatter the scroll recording the flame mantra into pieces. Yao Chen cursed him as a traitorous disciple, accusing him of being so blinded by his desire for the flame mantra that he would even resort to murdering his own teacher. But Han Feng simply fired back, claiming he did nothing wrong because, in his mind, anything is justifiable as long as it makes him stronger. Then, Han Feng thrust his sword straight into Yao Chen's chest, telling him he could spend the rest of eternity regretting his choices in hell. And just like that, the legendary Yao Chen met his end. However, because Yao Chen's soul force was just too powerful, he didn't completely perish. He roared at Han Feng, calling him a traitorous disciple once again, someone who betrayed his own master and committed sins so vile that even the heavens couldn't forgive them. Yao Chen vowed that even if he had to die, he would drag Han Feng down to hell with him. But Han Feng didn't show a hint of fear. Instead, he was vibrating with excitement, shouting about how insane it was that the soul force of a Doujang-level alchemist could be this powerful even after the body had physically perished. Just as Yao Chen was about to deliver the killing blow to Han Feng. Just then, a member of the Hall of Souls, who had been lying in ambush for a long time, launched a sneak attack on Yao Chen with iron chains. Watching from the side, Han Feng let out a manic laugh, boasting that it was all thanks to the secret poison provided by the Hall of Souls that he was able to successfully drug a peak Doujang like Yao Chen. Han Feng made it clear that he wanted every bit of Yao Chen's lifelong fortune and treasures. While the Hall of Souls only had their eyes on Yao Chen's massive soul force, it turns out they had been plotting this collaboration behind his back for a very long time. Yao Chen cursed Han Feng, telling him to stop daydreaming. He declared that even if his soul were to be shattered into nothingness, he would never let their sinister plot succeed. In a desperate final move, Yao Chen chose to self-detonate the majority of his soul force, using the massive explosion as a distraction. His remaining soul and the ring managed to escape the scene in the chaos. Alright guys, so that's how Yao Chen met his end in the manhua version. It's actually pretty great that the manhua filled in the gaps that the original novel left out. In the original novel, Han Feng was an abandoned child, and it was Yao Chen who raised him from infancy. However, as for how Yao Chen found Han Feng when he was just one tiny baby, the original novel never actually explains that part of the story. Alright, that's all we have for today's video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please give it a thumbs up, it really helps the channel out in a huge way. I'll be creating even more content covering everything you missed in the Battle Through the Heavens animation. So, if you want to see more of these deep dives, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update.